What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, before I get into the video, as always, like to remind you guys that if you want to donate to my channel, contribute to my channel, you can do so in the link provided in the description box below via the PayPal or the Cash App. I'd like to thank everybody that's contributed to my channel over the past couple of months. I also have created a Patreon account where I can talk about subjects I cannot talk about on YouTube for obvious reasons. I just thank everybody that has come over to the Patreon, but I want to stress that if you support my channel, please come over to the Patreon for very, very low cost, only $2 per month. And on the Patreon, I'm able to talk about subjects I said before, totally uncensored, unfiltered, and totally too raw for TV. So come over and let's make this a Patreon nation over on Too Raw for TV. Now, shout out to Ticket TV for his video on this subject. If you're not subscribed to Ticket TV, please go over and subscribe to Ticket TV. Um, now, Gilbert Arenas said recently that he thinks that basically Vince Carter's taking up space as far as roster spots concerned with the Atlanta Hawks. You know, he's basically saying that he's taking um, a spot away from a deserving younger candidate who may be a better basketball player than Vince Carter is at this particular point in his career. And he pretty much said that he thinks that Vince Carter is basically chasing like records, in particular, like most seasons played. And these are my thoughts about this. Now, it's interesting for him to say that Vince Carter's taking like a deserving roster spot away from somebody more deserving, being that Gilbert Arenas himself is 37 years old and maybe taking a more valuable spot away from somebody in the big three. You know what I'm saying? But getting back to Vince Carter never come across to me as a guy that's chasing records. Okay, he's never come across to me as that type of player. Of course, he's talking about Gilbert's talking about the fact that this season coming up, Vince Carter will break the record for most seasons played. This record is currently shared by several players, including Robert Parrish, who played from 1976 to 1997. Kevin Willis, who I believe made his NBA debut in 1985 and last played during the 2006-2007 season, I believe. But he missed one season. One season he didn't play in the NBA, so it's a grand total of 21 seasons. Of course, Kevin Garnett, who played from 1995 to 2016, and of course Dirk Nowitzki, who came into the NBA at the same time as Vince Carter, the abbreviated 1998-99 season, which actually started in February of '99, and of course Dirk Nowitzki just retired this past season. So when Vince Carter debuts next season, it will be for a record-breaking 22nd season. Also, Vince Carter will become, if I'm not mistaken, the only player. I got to think about this before I say this. I got to think about this. Yeah, he will be. I believe that Vince Carter will be the only player in the history of the NBA to make an appearance in the NBA during four different decades. That being the 90s, the very last year, the 2000s, the 2000 teens, and of course, if he doesn't get injured before January 1st, 2020, and plays during the rest of the season, you know what I'm saying? The 2020s. So that'll be four different decades. An awesome accomplishment, an awesome feat for a guy that has uh, taken care of his body. I think Ticket said something about this in his videos. Taking extreme care of his body through, nutrition and discipline to still be relatively productive at his age of 42. But I don't get the impression that he's ring chasing or chasing anything. Look at the teams he's playing for. You know what I'm saying? And I think anybody would give him a pass if he did ring chase this past year. And he's already committed this will be his last season. So why are you criticizing him? I could see if he never, let's say Vince would just keep playing and playing 43, 44, and, if you ask him it's going to be your last season, well, I can play as long as I want to, you know. Interesting that, Gilbert Arenas criticizes Vince Carter, who's already committed this to be his last season. but Gilbert Arenas is mum on Tom Brady, who still feels that he can play until he's 50. That's just remarkable. Tom Brady's just a remarkable guy. He's a remarkable quarterback, a remarkable athlete. You know, but then again, Gilbert Arenas has already proven that he has a white supremacist mindset. All you gotta do is look at his stance and his feelings about black women and skin color, and all you gotta do when he said that just to me pretty much showed that he is a white supremacist dipped in black chocolate. That's it. He's a real life Clayton Bigsby that can play basketball. That's it. You know. But going back to Vince Carter, people got to remember at one point in time, Vince Carter was being pushed as the face of the league. I remember those "It's our turn now" commercials. We got next. Well, actually, that was the girls. It's our turn now. I think is what the slogan that the NBA was pushing post Jordan. Okay, and Vince Carter, they were trying to push him as the face of the NBA. Now, ultimately, Vince Carter did not feel comfortable in that position, and ultimately, we all saw the guy that would be the closest to Michael Jordan would be Kobe Bryant. Okay, um, but I remember Vince Carter 2000 Olympics, that dunk on Frederick Weiss. We all remember Vince Carter when he was an all-star, when he was averaging 24, 25, 26 points per game, 6 rebounds, 4 or 5 assists per game, when he was one of the top players in the league. I remember Vince Carter, the guy that can dunk at will throughout the game. You know what I'm saying? Unbelievable dunks. This is a guy that can pull off slam dunk competition dunks within the game. Most guys can't do that. Most guys can, maybe pull off these types of dunks in the open court with no defenses geared to stop them and all that, during the competition of the slam dunk contest. But to actually do that throughout the game and during a game, that requires a whole different type of skill level. And Vince Carter had that. And he's the greatest dunker of all time. And that's no disrespect to Dominique Wilkins or Julius Erving, who sometimes I say, well, maybe Julius Erving should get that title, man, but nah, we look at the degree of difficulty, it's Vince Carter. I remember Vince Carter, the show he put on in the slam dunk contest back in 2000. You know what I'm saying? Unbelievable, unbelievable. I remember when he first did those dunks, I was like, stunned. Like, I still can hear Kenny Smith going, "It's over," because it is. It was over. Like, everybody else just need to just go ahead and just leave. You know, because every other dunk after that, after his competition, his initial show was anticlimactic. It was like no point because it's just going to pale in comparison to what he did. So yeah, even though Vince Carter never had the team success that if you're a fan of his, you wish that he would have, for what he's done for the NBA the past couple decades, yeah, he's entitled to have a farewell send off. You know what I'm saying? So he's entitled to that. So Gilbert Arenas, just because you failed in certain circumstances, just because when it came to the game of life, you made some poor decisions, don't hate on this man because he's already committed this is his last season. And I think the biggest reason why he's an asset is because of his longevity, because of his veteran leadership. He's a mentor, and he's provided that mentor role in the last couple of teams he's played for, that being the Memphis Grizzlies and the Sacramento Kings. Atlanta Hawks, outside of Vince Carter, is a very young team. The two next oldest players are Evan Turner and Chandler Parsons, who's only 30 years of age. Most of the players on the Atlanta Hawks team, Trae Young and others, are 25 years of age and younger. Young players can put up numbers, but very seldom do they know what it takes to win. Very seldom. And veteran leadership is a needed asset to have for a team that wants to win. Veterans do play a vital role. Okay? give you an example of a team that was very young, extremely talented roster wise, but could not get over the hump because they didn't know yet what it took to win. The 1990s Los Angeles Lakers. The young team with prime Shaq, a young Kobe Bryant, a young um, Derek Fisher, Robert Ory, who did know what it takes to win, but uh, Rick Fox, who was playing with the Boston Celtics, he didn't know what the hell winning was about. You don't know how to win when you're playing with, uh, 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 who was on the team? Walter McCarty and Todd Day and Dino Raja. I mean, no disrespect to Dino Raja, but they didn't know what winning in the NBA was about. That team was very, very talented roster wise. But when it came to playoffs, they were always getting swept or getting their asses handed to them by teams like the Utah Jazz and whatnot, or later on the San Antonio Spurs, until Phil Jackson showed them how to win on the next level. So veteran leadership is very important. You often see how valuable a guy like an Avery Johnson or some of these other guys are when it comes to having a veteran leader. And you sometimes wonder, man, why do they always got this guy on this team and he don't know what he sucks? Yeah, he may not be the most skilled player basketball wise as far as stats because you just look at numbers. But what this guy asset is he knows how to manage the clock. He knows how to set certain plays up in certain situations and set certain guys up to be in the best position to win. He knows how to win in crunch time. That's his asset. So after the season, Vince Carter's probably going to maybe move on to the front office or some organization. Maybe he's going to, pursue a career maybe in coaching. I think with his telegenic looks, he's articulate. I think that he should consider the Mark Jackson route. Maybe he should maybe consider coaching, but maybe in broadcasting. I can see Vince Carter being a pretty good broadcaster, and I think that he should try to go into that role. But he's going to be a Hall of Famer, and you know, is Gilbert Arenas hating a little bit? I don't know, maybe. But give me your guys' thoughts.